in the H.J. McAllister Administration Building, and this meeting was hosted according to law. We're going to open up our meeting with our invocation given by we're back. Our invocation this evening given by Chief Cunningham, followed by our pledge of allegiance by Trustee Tennant. Y'all please stand with us.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come tonight to give thanks to you, to whom all our blessings flow. We thank you, Father, for allowing us to live in this great country, in this great city, in this great state, and be a part of this school district. Now, Lord, we ask blessings upon our superintendent, upon our school board, as they lead us and guide us in learning. Now, God, I ask that you bless every parent, I ask that you bless every student, every administrator, and every employee of this district. Lord, help us to do according to your will. And Father, we pray now that you will bless us as we go through this year. We give you praise, honor, and glory in the most powerful name we know. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the United Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. All right, moving straight into our celebration of excellence. This evening, we are going to be honoring some Bay City High School students that passed their AP exam. Good evening, Ms. Mosher-Flores. How are you?
Good. We are really excited, of course, every year, part of our CCMR, we take, allow students to take the Spanish language test as well as our chemistry test. Those are the two remaining AP courses that we have. So we have 35 students that actually pass the AP exam to get college credit. And Ms. Lopez, our college and career liaison, is going to give you a little bit more information on that. So today we're recognizing students who take on one of the high school's biggest academic challenges, which is advanced testing exams, and our kids absolutely crushed it. So 35 students passed either the AP Chemistry or AP Spanish Language and Culture exam, and that is no small feat. So even better, 10 of those students are a perfect score of 5, which is like the gold medal of AP testing. That's awesome. And thanks to their success, many will receive college credit anywhere from 3 to 15 hours, and basically high school earns 61 points. So showing we're preparing students for what's next. Their brains are working overtime, and our school gets smarter by every minute. So a huge thank you to them, to the teachers who made this possible, and their dedication made the difference. So it's pretty happy here. So some of these students are here. Some of these students had other commitments, some of them have jobs, and some of them already booked for college. So, but we're still going to name them. AP Chemistry is intense. It's not just formula and labs. It's basically science on hard mode all year, and these students passed it. So when I call your name, please come forward. Aaron Bunn, Grant Friesenheim, AP Spanish. Now, many might speak Spanish, but writing persuasive essays, analyzing the text, and speaking formally under pressure is a totally different level, and I would not be able to pass this exam. So these students didn't just speak it, they performed it. So when I call your name, please come forward. Georgia Boitas, Hugo Aguilar, Avril Amaya Sosa, Iris Amisqueta, Garcia, Huerta, Christina Duran Ramirez, Angela Garcia, Carla Garcia, Andrea Garcia, Pedro Hernandez, Emilia Hernandez Becerra, Denise Lopez, Augusto. Agustín Mata. Duarte. Araceli Badon. Juan Perez. Mia Perez. Vera Officer. Yoselin Rojas. Alondra Rubio. Jasmine Rubio. What did we say? Maria Serrano Ochoa. Samantha Silva. Yes. Giselle Samarita. Guadalupe Zamora. And Pamela Zatino Ruiz. We're really proud of our students. They made us really proud of this performance. And some of them actually even earned a reimbursement check back. So kudos to them. This one.
Y'all want to speak in or take a picture with the school board? So if y'all want to make 2 lines or 3 lines, please.
Someone walked in.
Could I have some people move in?
Yeah, y'all wanna make 2 lines, maybe 12 people in the back, shortest people towards the front.
You should fall in the back on the window, like between 2 people, so we see your face.
I'm gonna need y'all to do a little bit more in more. Sorry.
Goes in the back.
I did it, David. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Congratulations.
She moved it. Miss Lopez, you wanna take your signs? Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Mosher, for all that y'all do at the high school. I know that is no small feat to get those students to where they are, and that's amazing. We had so many of them, and so many that passed chemistry. And last year, I think we had quite a few, but I don't know if we had.
There's more this year.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if we had many chemistry last year, so that's a huge thing. So congratulations to the high school and to all the work that you're doing, because it doesn't just happen at the high school. Yes, that's where they take the test, but it starts at the beginning. So thank y'all for what you're doing. All right, moving on to good news. Does anybody have any good news from since we met last in July?
I want to thank the staff for a great first week of school. Didn't hear many complaints at all. I know how much people love to complain, but I think pick up and drop off was probably the least amount of Facebook drama that we've seen here. So you guys got it down this year.
Anything else?
Football starting.
Yeah.
Excited for football.
First home game next Friday, not this Friday. the next Friday.
Scrimmage.
Scrimmage on Thursday here at home.
Yeah.
I know I attended a couple Meet the Teachers that were fantastic. I now have a student at the junior high, and that one had so many people, the lines were wrapped around the building to collect and get schedules. So I think the parent involvement that has been such a focus the past couple of years of getting parents to come and to be involved, because that's part of the process. I think we're seeing some fruit of that labor. And I know that it's not been easy work for all campuses, but it is definitely starting to blossom and bloom. And so thank y'all for that work, for sure. Is there anything else that anybody has? All right, we have no audience with patrons this evening, so we will move straight into our next item of business, which is Bay City governance.
So Mr. Halley is going to present to you guys from this appreciate.
I have. We'll be poured out for
Well, I can say something real quick. So, you're fine, but as everyone knows that watches and that sits at this table, we have been doing LSG for a few years, since 2022, somewhere around that neighborhood. And there were discussions at the end of last year is there something that we can do that will serve our district? Still focusing on student outcomes and goals, but is there something that we can kind of make our own and tweak to be what is best for Bay City ISD, excuse me, and where we're headed? So we are stepping away from LSG, but now we're doing BCG, which is Bay City governance. So it's similar to what LSG was. We'll still be focusing on HB3 goals for kindergarten through to that 3rd grade, and then all of the goals that we were focusing on, just doing it with a little bit different, with a little bit more flexibility to be able to fit what is best for our students and for our district. So,
Perfect. That's amazing.
all right, good evening.
Oh,
but you're, yeah. We're still here.
So we have some technical difficulties here. If it's all right with you, I can still keep moving. I don't really need it so much. So I'm gonna just do it a little backwards instead of actually doing the numbers, giving this some time to come up. We'll talk about the BCG, and it's just gonna be a quick overview of what we're doing throughout the year. So for this presentation here, it's gonna be our all final star results for all of our campuses. That's what you'll see here. You've already had it ahead of time. The data here, the graphs look a little bit better this next one here. And I want to identify some trends that we're seeing, obviously, and then some opportunities for growth, and obviously lots of flows there. So some great increases that we've seen at many levels all through our district. Next month, when we look at September as far as BCG, I'll be joined up here with Ms. Mosier, right? We'll be talking about CCMR and A through F accountability ratings. And A through F, as you know, has been published already. We've had some steps in the right direction. Obviously, we have some good goals and some target areas that we want to try to focus on to expand that so our letter grades can continue to rise within this district. The high schools stayed steady with theirs. Junior high dropped 1 letter, and of course at Holmes they came up 1 more as well. So there's been some great growth in those areas. The other campuses were steady. A lot of them in C's, but I feel very confident with the group of people you see sitting there, and the ones that are working on the campus that will have a lot of great growth moving forward. I don't want to spoil the fun, so wait till September to get to there. We're still getting there closer. In October, which is a great month for a lot of reasons, Halloween, of course, my birthday, just do that out there. We have Roberts will be up here. We got BOY, JCE, Kinder, right? BOY, I don't know if that's reading and math coming on. So we're going to have Ms. Window, Ms. Howard, and myself will be up here. We'll be discussing some growth opportunities there. All this is going to be tied back to our A3F rating as well, and our goals as we continue throughout the year. This calendar into November and December to get a reprieve, right? So a little time for us to start working those areas. But we want to collect data so that we can present that as we come into the next year. So we can see the growth as far as the goals are. We are data driven in the sense of success, but we don't forget that those numbers have names. So we want to make sure we're taking that account as well. And our first part of the year, January, we'll do a mid-year check on CCMR again. We'd like to see exactly kind of how we're moving. As you all know, in CCMR, that's free money for us. The better we do, right, the more money we get. And I will say 98% is pretty impressive. There's lots of people in the state that want to know what's happening there. Because when you get 98%, you get 5,000 per kid if you're economically disadvantaged, 2,000 to that, expect the other 2,000. So you're going to finish on $9 grand per kid on a bonus factor every time they complete. And that's a work that starts here all the way up, right? So those groups are, this group of principals are doing a fantastic job making sure that happens. In February, we'll do a semester 1 TIA growth. So when we look at TIA, it's a fantastic deal for our staff to get some of that, recapture some of that bonus money, but it has to coincide with student growth. So teacher growth and student growth have to run like this. They can't do this. If they do this, then they can lose that bonus money for our teachers. So what we did earlier in the year with, about a month ago, we did a calibration as far as assessments with our principals. We've taken that a little step further to see how their growth is going with their T-test and evaluation system. But we need to know where our growth is in January so that we can make some corrections before that data gets recaptured a couple months later. It still gives us a primary opportunity to make sure that we can still be in line with what we're looking for. Our graph should look something like this. And that's something you'll see in January when we present that data as far as our teacher growth and our student growth along the way. We'll have a better understanding come June about what will fall. And so that will be a great thing for us and a great thing for our staff as well. Then in March, we've got some more homes as far as we'll be doing there. We got benchmarks 3 through 5, TIA growth, another way to look at data. So we don't want to culminate it all in one. We have Kinder as well. Before that, but then Roberts is coming back in for Kinder, and we got reading and math a little bit later too. So it's going to be all of our elementary principals. So there'll be Ms. Howard, Ms. Flores, and Ms. Wendell will all be presenting data. I'll be here with them, but they'll really be leading the show with that. They're going to be talking about what they're doing in their campuses and in their classrooms and seeing how that growth is coming. So again, a little more data. I hope you're not tired of data, but it's going to be important to see that. In April, we have the junior high benchmark and TIA growth. Again, we're going to continue that TIA trend and follow through in the junior high. Ms. Cummings will be doing that. And then, of course, in June, we got CC Mark again, preliminary star scores. So there'll be Ms. Flores and myself again to see something very similar to what's, did you get the right one? That's the other one here. Did you have the original one with these numbers? Yeah. What's the latest one? And then in June, we covered that, but then we get to August, and it's all the campuses. We look at TIA growth, and of course, we look at our final star results. So we'll kind of do this next again, so we'll be able to see exactly where we're at. Hopefully, certainly by June, we'll be able to see a lot of our growth as far as our teachers, as far as what we're doing performance-wise. So we'll go for next year. Are there any questions on our calendar events for BCG? This is still open. Can I read it?
It's what I pulled out of the email.
I'll trash it. I brought it up last time. Can I bring it up in your trash? So this is the data I sent you before. I'll put a little more into it. I'll give you one more that will. This one is, it has the approaches. If you look at the back there, you can see 3 different bar graphs just to kind of get an understanding. And it's broken down in 3 different tabs from elementary over to the junior high and then into high school as well. Just to give you some point of orientation, anything that's highlighted in green has had growth, anything in yellow has been a dip. There's nothing as far as it's going to be a different color scheme based on the level of growth that's involved with that. But it is certainly something that we want to take notice of. It's easier to find trends that way. Otherwise, you're just kind of looking at a bunch of numbers, and it can be overwhelming sometimes. This information usually comes in about, I don't know, a couple of hundred sheets like this. with all kinds of demographics. That's on the bottom, right? So you'll be able to see that. A lot of it we filtered out for you, so you can just kind of get right to it. It's broken up by gender, ethnicity, socioeconomics, special programs, any needs that are inside there. So if you want to go a little more in depth, you can at the bottom. At the end of the day, we're pretty focused on, let's see what the overall percentages are. There are a couple of groups that we'll spend a little more time with as we move into next year. We'll talk more about that in next month. But just kind of a prelude, our special education population, our virtual bilingual population, these will be the ones that are good things for our buck as far as percentage passing rates, but also it's really good overall as far as student productivity is concerned. So in this instance right here, you can see our 3rd through 5th grade and how they're well rocking and rolling, really. And this is kind of a nerve-wracking deal for not just staff, but students. But on this campus in particular, you're starting out with the first level of tests, right? So 3rd grade, and you're going into the next one, right? Your 4th and 5th. So they're kind of capturing all of them all at once. There's really no reprieve for these students as they get going. And it can create a lot of anxiety for students, right? So we want to take those kinds of things into account as we're looking at scores already. Remember, those numbers have names to them. So we want to make sure that we don't forget that either. But we want to do the good work that's being developed inside those classrooms by adopting a more rigorous curriculum at that level and moving forward as we implement it in the classroom. Just some things to point out, some trends as far as overall growth in this level right here. Your 3rd grade math, our 3rd grade math, and our 4th grade reading, and our 5th grade science all enjoyed success across the board. So in each level, in each one of those 4 categories, whether it's did not meet, right, or whether it's approaches or meets or masters. Obviously, masters is one that's going to be the highest level of ratings that someone can get in the state at any grade level. And then your meets is kind of in between. And then your approaches is passing. If it did not meet, obviously it's that. Now you may see that it did not meet could be highlighted in green. What that means is less kids were unsuccessful, so we had more kids pass. And that's why we want to identify that in green. You see it yellow, we had more kids unsuccessful. Right? So it's easier when we're working with principals and other curriculum experts on our campuses, we can identify this stuff a lot faster. So as you're reading this chart and you're going through that, just kind of keep that in mind. One thing in particular, when you look at some of the growth, a lot of times you only see a couple percentage points. But one highlight I want to point out here is in that 3rd grade math, we had a 15% increase in approaches. That's pretty significant, right? So 15% is a big number. So when we see those things, if we see trends, the first thing we do is we go back to the principal and say, hey, what's your team look like? How are we working this out? And in this district, we practice the DLC process, right? So we're working with data, and we're using that data to put in research-based strategies so that we know exactly the targeted instruction we can give for students. Almost individualizing it for every kid, but making it look like it's for everybody. So it's actually a pretty cool deal when you see a teacher do that inside the classroom. Are there any questions on this grade level? On how to read the charts? You can see right here on the bottom part, this is where it's broken down a little more defined per student. You'll notice that the state, excuse me, in the region, the boxes are not, there's nothing in there. We don't have it, right, for the region. We will get that here pretty quick. The state, I just checked like 10 minutes ago. There are some that are up, but not all of them. In our junior high, you can see 6th through 8th grade. And again, 6th grade reading and 8th grade reading and science all enjoyed success across all levels. But you can obviously see some yellows there, but nothing too disturbing, right? 1 or 2 percentage points a little lower. Could be a variety of factors inside there. But we do feel that, with the implementation of the Fundamental 5, I gave a presentation there right before school started, and it was well receptive. So I think we're going to use some more teaching-based strategies. October 2nd, we have another round of kind of a conference part, I guess, a symposium is a better word for it, where teachers will be teaching teachers now. So throughout campuses. The philosophy here is that we have expertise here, we don't need to pay for it. So we can go ahead and use our own people to train our own people. It's a little more relative when we blend that in. And so when they're sitting through a presentation and it says, well, you know, I teach at a high school, this isn't gonna pertain to me. The research-based strategies are good at all those. It's not just necessarily one specific level. Now, we may give examples of how to deploy it within that classroom, but that would be a little more specialized in that different part of that conference. As opposed to kind of- Any questions on junior high? Yeah, I think. Excuse me, this is our kind of look. So you. And the high school. So the high school is a big one too, because it is, you know, EOC, it's end of course exams. So if the student is unsuccessful with any one of these exams, they will not graduate high school. There's some special circumstances based on whatever level of support they may get, but it requires a committee to, what we call an IGC, and from that, so they can be able to walk the stage with their peers. Now, one thing to point out here is English is usually, historically speaking, very challenging for a lot of students. But in the English 1, for the EOC, these are ninth graders, first time in there, that's a 20% increase. But 20% is a lot. So 1 in 5 kids passed it more this year than they did last year. And that's pretty impressive as far as what's happening in our campuses and what our teachers and what our leadership is doing and providing what we need for our students. Now, there's a little bit of yellow here, but again, these aren't huge percentage points, right? 1%, 2%. We just wanted to identify what we're looking for. I didn't specify if it was 5 or 10 or 15%. For us, we're always striving to go for masters. Because in our mind, the philosophy is that if we can teach every student to master the master section of the STAR testing, then it stands to reason that they will be able to benefit from the approaches and or the needs expectation of the state assessment. Does the board have any questions as far as STAR testing or testing?
Was 8th grade algebra, is that still an option at the junior high? Algebra, 8th grade, is that on there? Sorry for that.
Separate from 9th grade EOC or?
Yeah, it is.
We have social studies, and then when we get into the high school one, just come down a little further. It should be right in there.
Check out the junior high too.
It's not in there.
It goes about.
We do have it. It's in here somewhere.
He has the numbers right there.
Oh,
Out of 93 students that took the test, out of 250 in over our campus, we have 100% are above of approaches meets their masters.
okay. And that's still, they just take it in 8th, that's just an 8th grade course with, okay. But is it double?
School credit, yes.
with
It
the
is high school credit.
Yes.
It's high school credit, is it
High school credit.
double block, is it a block, is that what it's called?
It is a
class?
block.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
Sorry, I don't know where it went on this. It was on here. So
That's okay.
the transfer, I think it got lost. You know,
That's
to
all
be
right.
honest with you, it took a while to get it.
it's a lot of work, thank you for the work on that. Does anyone have any questions in regards to any of what was just presented? I know it's a lot of information. It is in board book if you want to go back and kind of break down each individual thing.
And it's pretty much the same that you received in June. There wasn't a lot of shifting. It's just now they're finalized. The dust is set. So it wasn't a lot of change.
Historically speaking, you won't see a big swing. Now, if you do, somebody else is going to get it.
All right, does anyone have any other questions on that? Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
I don't know about it.
And then the BCC data reporting is what he started with. That's the calendar that's also in board book that we'll kind of use to go by. Moving forward. All right. Do we We don't need a motion for that since we're not moving unless you, yeah, okay. Okay, I don't think so. All right, moving into items of business, discuss and take possible action on board operating procedures. This was in board book, if you recall back to our team of 8 training at the end of beginning of this month, however they all run together. We had a couple sections that we talked about, just changing the wording in one of them. So on page 57, we just changed E to communication to board members. And then the first section of that is complaints to board members. So it's really just changing the way we're wording it. Is everyone okay with that change? And if there is anything that we need to change this evening, we can go back. That's why I put discussion if possible, like we don't have to adopt it tonight. And then the big change was on page 62. We tweaked the superintendent and communication with the trustees, the weekly communication. We took out some of the stronger language to give Mr. Townsend some flexibility in when and how he communicates the different things happening within the board. Just that he'll provide regular updates through a newsletter or email, or kind of his decision on how he wants to roll that out. And then any board questions, follow-ups, requested reports, that sort of thing, be frequent enough to maintain the transparency and the effective communication. And then I know there were a couple conversations about the emergency communication. So in this, if hopefully we don't, but if there was to be an emergency, we wanted to kind of put some parameters in there for him to be able to, how he can communicate, so he's not individually texting us, or what do I do? So it's spelled out. So we just said that in the initial communication, there'll be a one-way board-specific group notification system for the first alert that something happened, and then ongoing updates will be given through either himself or through Kelly in the same way, with the one-way notification, and then a summary will come out from him once everything is wrapped up. And then I also included the team of 8 values and just kind of ranked them, the top 4 that we talked about: the respectful communication, transparency, truthful and trust, and then just clear communication. Does anyone have any questions, anything they want to modify, change with how the tweaks that were made to the board operating procedures?
Does it, do you just say weekly communication if we took out weekly shall provide?
We can check, so
I'm just saying.
just put communication.
Didn't specify when,
Yeah.
you said just when.
Yep. So just change it to communication. And take out weekly, that's a good catch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is
so,
that?
yeah, and then the number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that, that's not a problem. Good catch, thank you. Anything else? Okay, so we can do this one of 2 ways. We can adopt it with that, and I will change that and just kind of send it out so everyone sees it, and then we'll have it updated on the website, because these are housed on the website. Or we can come back next month for that. I can change it and send that.
Make a motion to make a motion to approve the policy as presented with the one correction under communication.
Okay. Perfect. So there's a motion on the table to approve the board operating procedures with that one change under communication with trustees. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second on the table. Any further questions, discussion?
So I just want to say, on that communication piece, the initial emergency communication is going to come from Parent Square. And it would probably be good if you downloaded the app. Kelly will have a QR code for you guys, so if you can grab that, get it from her before you leave tonight. And then when you tap that QR code, it'll lead you to the process. That way you'll all have the app and you'll get it via the app. So that's how the initial emergency communication will go out to you guys. And then it'll be followed up with, Kelly will update you guys throughout the process. But just wanted to mention that, so before you leave, if you could get that, if you got me download it.
No way for us to reply to that comment at all. Okay.
No, it's a one way. It's the same thing as if we were going to notify a group of parents that, you know, of an event or something. They're not going to be able to communicate that. Is correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Perfect.
see that, as I'm already in parents, where parent portal or whatever, for the high school, junior high.
You just have to link them, Mr. West, because mine's the same way. I have my kids and then I have mine. And there's a link button, so I still get the notifications from both of them without logging in or out.
You can add it, send it.
There's it says
Well, I
link
can
the,
see it without like, I have to like go in there and then hit switch account.
have you
and then I
changed
can
it on
see
the
that one.
computer? You have to link it on the desktop and then it'll work, I promise.
Okay. All right, I might call you.
Yes. I can, Miss Butcher's good too.
Okay.
But I promise, I get football updates and I get school updates all day long.
Hey, don't bother her.
Let's give her one more task.
I'll make a video.
Okay. Thanks for that. So it sounds like that it can't happen, you just have to do your desktop, not your mobile app.
Well, no, you can do it through the mobile app, you have to link it on your desktop.
On your desktop.
Yes, that's right. You have to go in and connect the two accounts. Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Any further questions, comments, concerns? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right. Item B, discuss, consider, and take possible action to adopt a disaster penny resolution.
Mr. Gomez? No, good.
All right, so, the disaster penny resolution is the 8-page document that you guys have had in workbook. Has anybody had any questions about that whatsoever? We're all on the same page that this is how the tax rate is normally calculated. You're gonna take your MCR plus your 5 cents for, whatever the enrichment things that are, we have, which in this case will be the 5 cents plus the 12 disaster pennies, 3 gold plus, 9 copper. And then, of course, adding your INS tax rate, that's how you get all of the pieces that we're going to see here in just a moment. This is just a bunch of legal language that we've run through lawyers multiple times, just explaining that piece and a breakdown. So, this part right here, now therefore be resolved by basically the school district, board of trustees, and the board of trustees declares its intent to, at a board meeting, be scheduled at a later date, but in any case no later than today, August 19, 2025, approve an order, ordinance, or resolution adopting a tax rate for BCISD for fiscal year 25-26 that includes an additional 12 cents of tier 2 pennies as disaster pennies, as authorized by the Texas Tax Code Section 26.042E due to increased expenditures of money necessary to respond to Hurricane Beryl. Now, the proposed maintenance and operations tax rate will be levied at 0.73890 on a $100 valuation. Likewise, the INS or debt service tax rate will be levied at a 0.26179 cent on the $100 valuation. This is the important part of this tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's tax rate. So, and just wanted to make sure that's all clear out there. The tax rate will effectively be raised by 22.2454%. Will raise taxes for maintenance and operations on a $100,000 home by approximately $0. As the math worked out, when we have a $100,000 homestead exemption, it's factored into increase to $140,000. So you're not going to see an increase on a $100,000. And once you guys make the motion, you guys will sign. There's like an indicator right here in the table to record all the votes for absences, ayes, nays, and abstaining from the vote. So we will have that, and then just as a backup, we have the proclamation from the governor's office when Carol went through last year. So I will leave it to you guys.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, Point Bay City, there's so many $100,000 homes. I mean, who really gonna get taxed?
Well, and let's fast forward, the INS rate's coming down. There's no more taxes coming out of the homepayer's pocket. We have a interest and sinking, which pays debt. We have operations and maintenance.
Yeah.
We're raising this one and lowering this one, and they're gonna pay the same. People who have $100,000 or less pay zero taxes anyways. School tax.
So it's not true to this document what we're saying?
It is. This is half of it. The other half
The
is gonna
other
be the
half is
INS that gets adopted later in the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see it closer.
What's that?
Closer.
No, next next item of business is the tax rate.
Yeah. It's all in there.
All right.
Are there any other questions?
I didn't mean to shut you down, but I didn't wanna like
No,
start
no,
a
no.
conversation about raising rates
Yeah.
when
No, I just saw that and
Yeah.
wondered, you know, I
Yeah.
know the average home in Bay City is over $100,000.
Yeah, he's just stating that $100,000 home pays zero taxes anyway, so it's not gonna affect them. And then as you go up from there, it's gonna be a small amount, and then it gets to be more, but then it's gonna be offset on the other
We
side.
good.
Yeah.
We good.
All right, anyone have any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. No, we didn't take a motion.
What was the motion?
What is, we didn't make a motion, sorry, I thought we made a motion, my fault. Is there a motion to be made?
Since I know it'll pass.
Adopted disaster pay resolution is presented in board.
Perfect. All right, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion? I second. All right, now that we have a motion on the table, sorry about that, folks. Is there any questions, comments, concerns?
Are we signing that on the ayes,
Yes, we
or are we
will.
roll call on this?
I can roll call it. That's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Trustee Robichaud. Trustee West. Trustee Scarnum,
Aye.
Trustee Westmoreland, aye. Trustee Robinson is absent. Trustee Tenon. Trustee Eaton.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 6-0. All right, moving on to item D, C, which is a public meeting to discuss budget and proposed tax rate. Hello, sir.
All right, so got disaster out the way. We're doing things a little differently this year just because of everything going on legislation wise. Wanted to make sure to get this in front of you guys as quickly as we can. So normally what we do, the normal process, trustee Eaton, is that we come together in August, we propose the tax rate, and then we adopt in September. So what's different is we're doing it all together right now, here tonight. So as what I normally would present in August, right here you have the 2025 tax rate calculation worksheet for school districts with chapter 313s and Board of JEDI agreements. This is something that we worked through with the tax assessor collector's office. A lot of good work that was done there. And what feeds this is the OMAR summary finance template, which I've shown you guys before, and is definitely a headache all within its own. So we have this here. That's calculated first, which generates this page here from the tax assessor collector's office. The millage revenue rate is going to be $1.02 and 1.02198. Maintenance and operations tax rate is going to be 0.61890 plus 12 disaster payments is going to be 0.73890. The debt rate is going to be 0.26179 using a debt requirement of $6.9 million, a little over $7 million minus what tax assessor collector calculated as excess income or revenue, so that brings it down to 6.9. Estimated collection rate of 27%. You combine that INS rate with the M&O rate with the 12 disaster pennies, and that gives you $1 in, what was that? A couple thousandths of approval rate of 1.0069. And then the certified value, we did see significant value growth, which I will show in the presentation here in a moment, of 2.5 million for M&O and 2.7 for INS, which tax will be 57 million there, and the overestimated actual tax is $467,671. All that to say that feeds this portion here, which is what went out in paper, did meet our 10-day lead time requirement for tonight's meeting. So our maintenance and operations budget went up 74%, debt service 83%, total expenditures, sorry, not 74%, 0.74%, debt service was 0.83, and total expenditures was 0.76%. What we're going to see here is the total appraised value of all property. So in the preceding tax year, it was $2.8 billion. It jumped up to 3.5. Total appraised value of all new property, 123 million. You're seeing 700,000. So the reason you're going to see a lot of these big swings is what we talked about at length already is Run America. right? So Rome America is the chapter 313 agreement that we had tried to amend, or that they had tried to amend. So that it came on, the value limitation for that started during this tax year, which is gonna run from January to December. Now, because of that, and because of delays, they weren't able to amend it. So right now, it's still stuck on the value limitation period that added at amendment number 2, which starts in 29/30, first payment coming up in 2030. Our understanding is that they're going to try to amend it again later this year, so that we have those payments coming sooner rather than later, so you'll see those payments as soon as January 2027. But the effect of the value limitation period not coming online is that they're being taxed with full taxable value. So they, as a top 10 taxpayer, and I can pull that documentation up for you, they were being taxed at about 85 million on the project. That jumped to over 605 million. So you're seeing significant growth, anywhere from about 32 to 36% in property values. So that's why we're seeing that we're getting pressed down to the max, because of property value. And this is a lot of the same things that you've heard me say. So I know it sounds like I'm being dead horse here, but I just want to make sure we cover that. We do have a new trustee here as well, so if there's any questions, feel free to stop me at the time. All right, we got one more now. So.
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm listening to you.
Okay,
Read.
I just want to make sure. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so these are estimations of fund balance. We talked about that. And Trustee Eaton, I think the important part to talk about that you were asking about just a moment ago is comparison of proposed levy with last year's levy on average residents. So the average market value of residences last year was $200,908. This year is going to be $203,621. But see, that's the market value. If you look at the taxable value, we're taking in that $140,000 homestead exemption into account. Last year with 100K homestead exemption, the average taxable value was at 87,567. This year, with 140K figured in, it's going to be at 68,334. You factor in that last year's rate was 1.01338, and we're actually bringing it down by a little over percent to 1.00069. The taxes due on an average residence last year were $87.39. We're actually decreasing that by $203.58 to $683.81. So this is going to be a savings for the taxpayer while also generating more revenue for the district. Last but not least, this is a presentation that you guys are used to seeing. Throw back to the Rick Johnson format and template. I figured if it wasn't broke, I'll fix it. So right here, June 17th, the BCISD Board of Trustees adopted the 25-26 budget, which is here. Adopted a budget of $40,688,906 for M&O. For INS, you adopted a total budget of $47,793,831. $47,793,831. At an ADA of 3115. Just the overall breakdowns of what was done, and then of course the food service budget that was adopted at $3,061,233. So all of these are there and signed and available on the website. So on July 18th, the Matagorda County Appraisal District issued a 2025 certified appraisal roll for BCISD that was received on July 22nd. So this is what we received from the County Appraisal District, signed by the Chief Appraiser, where we see the values. 2.5 for no, 2.7 for INS. Then just as a little side-by-side comparison, so we have the net taxable M&O from 25 and 24. You're seeing an increase of about $638 million there, a little north of that for the M&O side. Like I mentioned, a lot of that's attributed to Rome America coming on and being taxed for the full taxable value, making up the bulk of that. And then on the INS side, you're seeing an increase of about $609 million. This does take into account the 140,000 homestead exemption. And as a friendly reminder, the Chapter 313 agreements reduce the taxable value for M&O, while INS taxable value is for the full value of properties, which is why the INS taxable value is always larger. Now, fast forward to July 28th, the County Appraisal District issued a corrected 2025 appraisal roll. Just go and pull it up just so you guys can see it. So this is what we typically work with. It's just to get all these values. So right here is the parental space that we use. Now, factoring that back in, all that did was resulted in about $3.1 million loss of value compared to the value growth that we see. So take the value growth that we saw on the 18th issue versus the 28th, the difference is 3.1, just slightly lower value. Fast forwarding here to the second, when we worked with the county tax assessor collector, we got a no new revenue rate of $1.02, and then a voter approval rate of 12 disaster pennies of a little less than $1.01. Brings us to tonight, August 19th. So we're holding a public meeting to propose the 2025 tax rate that was published in the paper, and that's the notice you guys saw here. Previous part, so it's the notice that was out in the paper. The M&O rate that we proposed is 73 cents. The INS rate that we proposed is 26 cents for a total of a little over $1 or a little less than $1.01. And then the plan for tonight is that you guys as the board of trustees will adopt the 2025-2026 M&O tax rate, which is a little less than, I'd say, a little more than 7 cents more than the 23-24 M&O tax rate is 12 disaster payments. And then on the INS side, you're seeing a savings of about a little more than 8 cents. The total proposed tax rate will be, as I mentioned a little earlier, a little more than 1 cent less than last year's tax rate. Here's a side-by-side comparison of 2 years. We have our certified taxable value for M&O at 2.5, certified taxable value for INS at 2.7. Typo there on the years, which should say 2025. My apologies for that. And then the free taxable provided by the tax assessor collector. And then here's just a link back to the tax calculation worksheet. Any questions? I know taxes are super exciting.
They were this year.
So just to reiterate, we are adopting the disaster pennies, but lowering the INS so it still does not raise people's taxes. It lowers them.
Correct.
Okay, just making sure that everyone is tracking.
And I think that a really important part to point out is that part of the notice where you're seeing the taxes on an average residence, because we have the average residence figures here.
Yes.
And then so we're lowering people's taxes by $203.
Yes.
So you're seeing that savings there. The reason why is because rather than maintaining that INS tax rate like we discussed with the fees, that would have been a whole other song and dance in terms of resolutions and those things that we were going to have, hoops that we were going to have to jump through. Unfortunately, because of our situation, we're looking at the income side right now. And so rather than diffusing, what we're going to do is we're going to raise that income tax rate with those 12 disaster pennies that are available due to Hurricane Beryl. We do qualify with that damages those are documented. Mr. Boucher and I get to work with FEMA every 2 weeks. It's a joyous process, to tell you. And so we do all those pieces. So we have all that documented as well. Correct. Just like I said, the monthly legal, you guys have seen the resolution, so that's going to bring that part in. And then an important part to look at is our rates maintained for INS was 27 cents. We're actually bringing it down a little below that 26 cent, down to 26 cents because based on calculations with the tax assessor collector at 97% collection rate, that's where we could be. On top of that, they calculated what we had as excess INS collections. So that's in theory, if you have excess INS collections, you should be collecting with us. So overall, that's where we're at. As I mentioned, it's a good deal here for the taxpayers. Of course, they're seeing a higher valuation, but as far as the school taxes, we're actually reducing the taxes this year.
Right. Any other questions during this public meeting?
It is a public hearing, so if
Yes,
anybody in the
anybody
public
can
has
ask a
any
question.
other questions, this is the
Cool, I
portion of the
need a copy
meeting
of
where.
everything you just did.
Yeah, please document the formal hearing that we just identified. No.
Yeah, right now, feel free to send me a request.
Does anyone else have any other questions? All right, moving from item C to item D, which is the approval of 25-26 tax rate. All right, everyone has heard what Mr. Gomez has said. Does anyone have any questions? If not, is there a motion to be made?
I will make a motion to approve the 2025-2026 tax rate as presented in board book.
All right, there's a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion? All right, trustee Eden has seconded. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, sir. I appreciate all your work. I know that's a lot. All right, moving on to consent agenda. Is there anything that anyone would like to remove from the consent agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to be made?
We approve consent agenda as presented.
All right, is there a second to the motion? All right, any questions, comments?
Thank you for the Education Foundation.
Yes. Yes, all right, anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right, we will convene into closed session for 2 items of business. 1, personnel matters if necessary may be taken into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, resignation, reassignment, duties, discipline, resignation, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, including contract recommendations for campus and district level administrators and teachers. And number 2, a report of the intruder detection audit findings will be discussed under Texas Government Code 551.076 and 551.089. It is 6:56 and we'll move into closed session. We'll reconvene into open session at 7:20. Item 1 is discuss and consider approval of hiring contractual personnel. Is there a motion to be made?
Make the motion to approve the hiring of contractual personnel discussed in.
All right, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any further questions, comments? Oh, right.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed, motion passes 6-0. All right, the last item of business is adjournment. Is there a motion to be made? Is there a second to the motion? Is there a second to the motion?
I'll make a second. Adjourn.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any further questions, comments, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 6-0. We'll adjourn the meeting at 7:21.